this year marks the 32nd time the Lakers franchise has appeared in the NBA Finals. That is the most all-time ahead of the Celtics, Warriors, 76ers, and Knicks. Now for more, let's check in with Allie Clifton and a special guest from inside the bubble.
That's right, Geeter. Thanks so much for joining us live. It's ESPN's Dave Mcmenamin inside the bubble. But Dave, I will say this. You've been all over the bubble, if you will. You spent over 7 weeks in Tier 2. This will be just your second Laker game in Tier 1. And I know the finals is nothing new for you to experience, but how ready are you to watch this thing unfold now there in Tier 1?
It's been really exciting to be out and be so close to the action. Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals was a classic, and hopefully we get a classic NBA Finals. I've been fortunate enough to tonight will be my 9th NBA Finals I'm covering, and it's unlike obviously all the other 8 that I've gotten to see. But I think this one could be just as competitive as any of the other ones that I was fortunate enough to cover.
So Dave, let's dive right into it. Let's waste no time. I'll keep it simple for you. You're NBA 2020 champion will be in how many games?
They make us make predictions at ESPN, so I picked the Lakers in 6. And mostly it's a nod to having 2 of the All-NBA players, first-team All-NBA players, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Obviously, this team has been dynamite from the start, over a year ago when they started out training camp. But a great deal of respect for what this Miami Heat team has done. Even though they're the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, they have balance, they have toughness, they have shooting, they have coaching, and they're going to be a handful for the Lakers to get past.
Look, Dave, you just mentioned that it's your 9th time covering the NBA Finals, but it's your 5th time in the past 6 seasons covering LeBron James all the way through to this point. And I know for you, obviously, you're with him day in and day out. No one knows him better than you, Dave. And you spent some time with him after that Game 5 closeout against the Denver Nuggets just a few days ago, where a lot of the talk was about him accomplishing getting to the finals 10 times. What about his mindset stands out to you from that conversation heading here into this finals appearance?
Yeah, Allie, you know him really well also, and you know that he is a student of the game, a historian, and he recognizes an accomplishment like 10 NBA Finals is something that's real and tangible. The only a couple other guys that's had that many. He ties him with Kareem Abdul for the 3rd most all time. But he told me that doesn't mean bleep unless I get it done, unless we get it done and finish the job here. And to me, you know, LeBron is someone who is kind of smart about what he puts out in the press and the pressure that he wants to add to his shoulders sometimes. He wants to try to maybe avoid that. He put himself square in the middle of what this thing's going to be about. You know, it's put up or shut up. It's do or die. And, you know, I think if you look at it, 4 and 6 in the finals will feel a lot different when it comes to legacy than 3 and 7 will.
Put up or shut up. I love that. And you can call me Allison whenever you want, David, because I have a point for you here that I want to make, which may seem a bit twisted, but follow me here, because I know you love covering hoops. Anyone who follows you on social media knows that you love to play hoops, but I don't think there's anything you love more than Syracuse basketball. And the other day, Lakers GM and President of Basketball Operations, Rob Pelinka, called you out for wearing a Syracuse basketball shirt around the bubble, because he thought that meant you were rooting for the Heat. Why? Because Syracuse loves the zone. Of course, the Heat making a name for themselves given that zone. So what is it about the zone that the Lakers must be ready for when it comes to Miami's defense?
Yeah, absolutely, Allie. You know, Rob gave me some guff for it. You know, I rock my Syracuse gear at 365. But he makes a good point. I mean, the Miami Heat are the zone team of the NBA. They played 190 possessions of zone defense in the playoffs, which is by far the #1 team in the league in the 2020 playoffs. The Lakers are 3rd with 30 possessions. And so, to me, when we would run it in Syracuse basketball practices and try to understand it so we could implement it, it's all about getting to that middle of the zone. You have an entry pass to the foul line extended, and then have that guy be the playmaker. Either you put it on the floor, you get to the hoop, you pass it out to a shooter. You'll see LeBron in the middle of that zone. You'll see Rajon Rondo in the middle of that zone. You'll see Anthony Davis in the middle of that zone as well.
Well, Dave Mcmenamin, we appreciate your time as always. I'm so glad we got to catch up with you on this network. Finally, hopefully the Lakers will get the job done tonight and you can enjoy some big face coffee.
Rebounds, Field goal percentage the same, 57%. Bam getting it done on the boards, 11.4. I want to give you this quote. This is AD on Bam. Bam is a great player. Reminds us a lot of Jokic. He handles that ball and their energy guy. 2 Kentucky guys. Coach Cal texted me and called me about that. Going to be fun. Whoever wins that matchup probably wins the series. Rob, that's a direct quote from AD. Do you agree?
No.
Whoever wins that matchup.
No, not at all. Because one guy has on his side one of the best players ever to play this game. The other guy has a couple All-Stars.
Yeah.
And so it's a big difference in that. And I know AD is a key and is vital to this series, but if he falters, he has LeBron James to back him up. Bam, if you think about Bam, Bam is not even the third option, sometimes the third or fourth option. So he's not one of those guys you really have to worry about. He's going to get his. Don't get me wrong. He's a great player, and I hate to say that by any Kentucky Wildcat, but he's a great player. But it's a big difference when you got LeBron James on your side and Jimmy Butler, who both I love, but LeBron James is on a whole nother level.
I'll spin it a little differently to big game. Do you like that AD's putting that on him? Winning this matchup, we win the series. Because Rob makes a great point. He's got LeBron James next to him.
It's hard to accept that, you know. I hear what AD is saying, maybe it's a motivational thing, I'm not sure. But yeah, there are definitely other pieces. Rob's already pointed out the most important one is LeBron. And also, you have guys that, have some experience. Danny Green, guys have been there before. So, yeah, it's going to be an important matchup. They both bring different talents. AD brings more talent. Bam brings a different set of skills that you have to be aware of. You have to match his effort and stuff. But I think AD should win that battle. As you just noted in the graphic there, Bam goes after the boards consistently every night. He doesn't have like 2 rebounds here, 3 rebounds here. He goes offense. So if you're ready to work with him or outwork him, you should win the battle.
Yeah, Bam said if there's a moment in the series where the Lakers outwork us, then they're going to win the game. He said they have to outwork the Lakers every single time. Rob, AD's been big time, and he's delivered on the big stage up to this point. What will you be looking for in Game 1 from AD?
Hopefully he will learn from his last playoff series where you have to be aggressive. For you to go, 8 quarters, you only get 5 rebounds? That's not going to happen. You got to think of what Bam does. Bam keeps a foot in the paint. You want to have a foot in the paint when you don't have the rock. You don't want to float around the outside and shoot threes. You want to be aggressive. You want to be in attack mode because just think about this. If you're in attack mode and you get Bam in foul trouble, the Heat is in trouble because they don't have another big that can come in and support them like Bam does. Bam does, like Bam has said plenty of times, and the Miami Heat have said plenty of times, he's their heart, he's their soul, and he's their energy. If you can be aggressive and attack him, get him in foul trouble, that lane is open.
Yeah, I agree. You got to take one of the monsters out. And I think we have 3 guys that are capable of doing that, especially when Dwight comes in the game. It's a 7-game series. You want to chop him up, wear him down a little bit, put pressure on whoever's coming in to replace him. Meanwhile, you're going to have a concerted effort against Butler and Dragic. Those guys are going to be Crowder. You can't forget about some of those guys. Iguodala has plenty experience, so the pressure really is going to be on Caruso, Kuz, those guys, Pope. If they can sustain and, mitigate, some of those wing players and some of those guys who are going to be on the perimeter, they'll have a better chance as well.
Phil, let's take a look at this. This is AD and what he's averaging in his playoff career, and it's crazy when you see who he's with. 29.6 points per game. 25 games you had to have played in the playoffs. Allen Iverson, 29.7. MJ, Michael Jordan, 33 and a half. He's in some rare air up there.
People ask me, if you picking a schoolyard game, just pick up. It's a pickup game. AI's on my team. I'm telling you, the first 2 guys are on my team.
Rob, you taking those 2 guys too?
Not AI.
Wow.
Oh, you got to realize on the playground, there's different rules. Let him come to the hole he wants to. And I got Shaquille O'Neal on my team.
You got Shaq on the
Shaquille on my team.
You got Shaq in a playground game?
He's sitting on the sideline like this.
By the way, those numbers are impressive. Straight ahead, we'll check in with Dave Mcmenamin from live inside the bubble. Dave McTen is joining.